Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition of the Korean StarCraft League, the KSL week number 50. I'm, of course, host Live VIP, and with me, I'm joined by these amazing players, the people in the chat, and my plushies as well. Bienvenidos to another KSL, and this broadcasting time is a little bit different, a little bit special. Of course, the KSL is usually over the weekend and is every second Saturday. It's a bi-weekly tournament nowadays. Not every week, but every 2 weeks. We do have a KSL, but we missed out. We missed out this weekend. We weren't able to broadcast it live. Instead, I have my hands on the replays, and we are going over the KSL replays here tonight while we have some time, while we have an open schedule. Again, for those that are curious, usually, especially coming into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and on Wednesdays as well, we have Kung Fu Cup, we have WTL, we have World Team League. Usually there are other events going on. Not this weekend, not this week. The reason for this is because Stars War 11, a tournament that we casted the qualifiers of like at the start of the year, a long time ago. It was a couple of months ago at this point where we covered the qualifiers. We ended up covering some of the group stage as well. And Stars War 11 is finally going to be coming to an end here this weekend, as the players have been invited. They have gotten their tickets, their plane tickets. They've been flown over to China, and if you keep an eye on social media, there are photos of Showtime and Skillus and Oliveira and Spirit, how they've landed in China, how they're kind of hanging out together, they're eating food. They're being fed? Well fed, Papa. Ah, it's beautiful. So they're all traveling to China at the moment. Not just the players I just mentioned, but of course all the Koreans as well. All the players that did make it into the playoffs of Stars War 11. And that event is happening this weekend. That is why there is no World Team League. That is why there is no Kung Fu Cup. Not this week, as we kind of take a hiatus for Stars War 11 instead. And because there's a hiatus, because there are these free days, we can catch up with some replays, baby. We can catch up. Yesterday we caught up with Kung Fu Cup. Today we're catching up with the KSL. Tomorrow we have OSC King of the Hill, and we may even go over an ESL Open Cup Americas broadcast as well. So again, plenty of StarCraft to come, plenty of StarCraft here available to us. Even though there's nothing live happening at the moment, we can jump on some other things. So let's go, baby. Let's go. For the KSL, we have our first series. We have Classic versus Cyan. Now we're jumping right into the quarterfinals. Apparently, this week's KSL, the signups were a little bit lower, which is a little bit of a shame to see. But again, I'm pretty sure the lower signups is because of Stars War 11 and DreamHack Dallas right around the corner as well. Like, there's a lot of major events going on. There's a lot of traveling going on for a lot of the players, a lot of preparation for Dallas, and because of that, this bracket is a little bit smaller, a little bit shorter, but still of very high quality. We have a couple of matches before us. We're going to be going over the quarterfinals first. Just to give you a heads up, we're going over Classic versus Cyan, followed by... Oh, my hair is unruly, puppy. We're going over Classic versus Cyan, followed by Dark versus Rebellion, and Creator versus Nightmare, all the quarterfinals matches, then followed by the semis and the grand finals thereafter. Let's go. Let's go. Meanwhile, in the chat, I do see Shema, Papi Shema. Hello, Papi. Hello in the chat. I see No Clone as well. It's been a while. It's been a while, Papi. Good to see you. Good to see you, No Clone. I see Psycons as well. I stand. I've been trying to catch up for a few streams now. Are we close or are we up? Very elusive. Oh my. Well, last night we caught up with Kung Fu Cup. Here we're catching up with KSL. Tomorrow, I think we're caught up. Unless we decide to cast ESL Americas. ESL Americas maybe tomorrow. So we may go a little bit closer. Maybe in the face. In the face, Papi, in the face. But here we go. It's going to be a PvP to kick things off here. Game 1 going to be on Alcyone. Let's go. And this time I could actually observe. Oh my god, it's crazy. Yesterday, of course, we were casting via the clean feed. So I haven't been able to observe for a while, but I'll get there. I'll get there. Here we go, spawning in the top right-hand corner of Alcyone. We have our South Korean Protoss player, one of the best Protoss in South Korea, the red Protoss representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Chinese Protoss player. The blue Protoss representing Mystery Gaming, it is Cyan. It's been too long, Papi. Without light it goes dark. Oh, so cold and dark. Oh, Papi, let me warm you up. Let's go. We are going to be featuring Dark later on in the night, so be ready for that as well as we settle into this PvP. And I'm excited here. Again, Classic, of course, he has been on the up and up. Classic had a really shaky couple of months. Winding it back a little bit, if you remember, at the start of the season of GSL, Classic failed to qualify. He was one of the big upsets in the qualifiers for GSL. He failed to make it into the main event. And people were like, yo, this is a pretty big deal to not make it into GSL. Like, is this going to be the beginning of the end for Classic? Does he step away? Like, is he going to take a break? But no, he doubled down and said he's been competing in WTO. He's been competing in as many online events as he can. And Classic is still very much so looking in form. May not have qualified for GSL, but still brings down the best of the best to their knees before him. Still one of the best out there. Here we go. We do see across the map. Cyan getting into his own 2-gate opener. Oh, I spoke too soon. My apologies here. It's going to be a 2-gate opener from Classic. Cyan setting up for a gate expand. Papi, you have my attention. When it comes to Cyan, I was just about to get into the fact that Cyan has been doing very well for himself. Cyan, Jeshi, as well as Firefly, kind of bring them all up whenever I can, but they've all been improving so much over the past year, over the past 2 years of play. It's been really exciting to see their kind of rate of progression here. And more often than not, we've been seeing them take down big names like Clem, big names like Bjorn, for example, names like Dark at times. It's been really cool to see them kind of make these upsets occur a little bit more and more frequently. I would still not say that they're favorites, but again, it's always great to see them pop off whenever they do. Meanwhile, Classic going for an all-in. It was a 2-gate opener versus a gate expand. Cyan is being very greedy, he's being very economic, and Classic is looking to punish that greed with a proxy robo. 1 base all-in from Classic. Cyan, it's on our blue Protoss to defend. Basically, Cyan doing his best max packs impression. Now, to be fair, Cyan cut extra corners. He opened up with a gate expand. He did not go Stargate first. He is delaying his tech, and now he's going for a second gateway. But unlike we would see in another kind of economic opener, there's no Void Ray. There's no defensive Void Ray. There's no defensive Immortal either. We have 2 gateways. That's all great and all, but the reality is that Classic is doubling down, and the Prism is on the way. War Prism's on the way, followed by Immortal production. With the help of this War Prism, the Adepts can shade into the main base and go to the mineral line, and we can wreak havoc in that mineral line. And here come more Adepts. The way this works is that this first War Prism is going to be burying all of these Adepts into the main base, into that mineral line. Sure, we have a shield battery, we have an overcharge, but Adepts can one-shot workers. 2 Adepts. Takes 2 Adepts to one-shot a worker, so the shield battery means nothing. And here come those Immortals, because again, we did mention that it wasn't all in. 3rd gateway has been thrown down, so we can warp in 3 units at a time, and here comes the Prism. Prism does go straight for the main base. 4 Adepts, they have been dropped in. Cyan doesn't see, he doesn't know. Here comes the shade. Cyan does react, does respond, but is it too late? Do manage to catch 2 workers so far. We're getting 3, we're gonna get 4, we're gonna get even more than that, or at least we should. Cyan does pull back for a moment, force fields the Adepts in. Ooh, it's gonna be 6, 7 probes going down. We shade towards the natural, we catch extra workers, and we can walk away. We can just walk away. 9 probes go down, and we're not done. Remember, we have those Immortals on the way. The Immortals and the Sentries shade back into the main base. 11 probes go down. 12. And this is getting out of hand. This is getting out of control. Classic now taking a worker lead. And again, he should not be slowing down. Now, the scary thing with these Sentries is, of course, there's no blink. There's no blink. There's no counter War Prism, so Cyan cannot counteract the force fields. He's going to be locked down. He's going to be locked in. And it's going to be about how well Classic can execute this. You see Cyan with his own counter sentries. The Adepts, they commit. Oh, they don't quite commit to the shade. There are 2 shield batteries on the below ground. We can just focus them down. There we go. We throw down the force fields. We lock down Cyan's army. Overcharge is popped, but the DPS is too high. We break through the overcharge. The pylon goes down. We depower everything at the natural. And Classic is just overwhelming Cyan. GG gets called, and Classic takes game number 1. GG. Cyan. Bold move here. Cyan, he went for, I mean, he did go for a double gas opener, but he went for a straight up gate into Cybercore, into Nexus. Very greedy build in a PvP. And as soon as Classic saw it, he doubled down. He responded with his own all-in. Cyan just cutting a few too many corners there. And I mean, even before that, talking about the execution of the all-in, the Adepts were brutal. The Adepts, they killed so many probes, they killed so many workers, and just like that, despite the more economic start from Cyan, he fell behind in the economy, following it up, of course, with those Immortals, and Cyan just could not keep up in the end. GG. GG, well played. Classic takes a lead in the series, and now we're getting ready for game numero 2. Let's go. Catching up. Emergency body worth apply. Oh no. You're an animal, no, Clint. You're an animal. Here we go. Diving into Crimson Court, and again, like, I can definitely see these two players going to the ace match. I can see Cyan bringing it back, but needs to bring it out here and now in game number 2. As spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player currently leading the series 1-0. Representing Twisted Minds, it is Classic. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player representing Mystery Gaming down in the series. Can he bounce back? It is Cyan. Here we go. Again, the PvP is upon us. And I expect Cyan to go for a double gate opener this time. We saw him punished for trying to expand and trying to be too greedy and cut corners, but we'll keep an eye on Cyan. We'll see where our players do take this. Probes moving out, they do pass by each other. Getting scouts across the map. It's going to be double gases here from Classic, double gas from Cyan. Everything looking normal, everything looking as it should for now. There's that second gateway from Classic, and where is this? Is he doing it again? Where's the second gateway? Cyan, he's setting up for a gate expand. 2 games in a row. Oh my god, he's asking to be all in. There's that Cybercore. It's the same build. It is the same build. 2 games in a row. Bold move here out of Cyan. And will he get away with it? Will he get away with it? I mean, I'm sure after what happened in the last game, Cyan is going to be a lot more careful getting into this opener. Second probe moves out. Proxy pylon has been thrown down. I'm getting some deja vu, papi, but it's the exact same scenario. Classic setting up for a 1-base all-in. Cyan going for a gate Cybercore into a Nexus on the low ground. Now, Cyan has the option to wait for the Cybercore, throw down a Stargate or a Robo first, and then throw down the expansion instead. I'm curious if that's going to be the case. You can see Classic is looking. He's checking around this pylon to see if tech gets thrown down. Cyan, he goes for the... Oh my... He's crazy! He's going for the Nexus. He's going for the expand. And the Classic does confirm. So, for those that are maybe watching this and curious, I briefly mentioned it before about how, like, oh, you know, like, only MaxPax can get away with this. Even MaxPax doesn't do this. MaxPax goes for a gate Cyber. He goes for a Stargate first, then he goes for the expansion. The reason for this, and if you've seen MaxPax PvPs, you would know that the purpose of the Stargate is to get into Void Ray production early on. To get into Void Ray is to actually defend your natural and to get away with the greed, and to actually survive the early game and get into the mid game. So for Cyan to skip his tech the way that he is that much more greedy. It's so greedy here, and we'll see if Classic can punish it. Once again, same response. We have the Prism on the way. Cyan, he has not scouted. I say that. Hallucination comes in, and Cyan confirms. Okay, now we know exactly what's going on. Cyan is throwing down a Robo here at the natural location. Ooh, bold move to throw it down to the natural. It's a little bit more exposed, but we need Immortals. We need those Immortals as soon as possible. We have a third gateway in the main base here for Cyan as well, so he's keeping up with the production capabilities of Classic. Adepts are moving in, and we'll see if Cyan can defend his mineral line a little bit better this time. As the Adepts say, make it into the main base. No shield battery! No shield battery in the main, and we're chasing down the sentries. One sentry going to be going down. So far, only one. Going for another warp in. Much better defense here out of Cyan. The probes are still going down. We get 2 workers. We shade on out towards that natural, finding up. Almost another probe. But again, Cyan only losing 2 workers. So much better compared to what happened in game 1. Does minimize his losses, forces back the Prism. Again, this time Cyan did end up saving resources, going for a 3rd gateway and going for the warp-ins. Did invest in these Stalkers. But the Immortal has arrived and we're pushing through. Again, where is that overcharge? We are holding onto it. Oh, we need a little bit more time, and there it is. The overcharge is going to be popped. Classic gets forced back. Cyan, he is holding for now. You can see Classic rotating around. He does have the force field available. Doesn't go for it. Oh, the Immortal taking a lot of hits. The Immortal taking a lot of damage. Classic keeping alive, rotates around. He's up to 2 Immortals. Meanwhile, Cyan has survived long enough to get his own Immortal up and running. Cyan, so far, he is holding on. I'm concerned by the lack of shield battery in the main. There's a big vulnerability here, and oh, Cyan, he misses the drop. Does miss it. We get into the main base. We're going for the pylon. And we depower the gateway. Up. Good control here to Classic, pulling back, baiting out the shots. Gets extra damage done, and now we're up to 3 Immortals. Up to 3 Immortals, Cyan, he's down in production. Can't warp in as much. And we're going for the main army. We're going for the natural. Good force fields. We lock down the Immortal. Could pick up here from the Prism. Cyan, the juggling looking decent. Overcharge gets popped. We hold. Cyan is holding. But what concerns me the most is his army. Again, we missed a warp in earlier. And we're running out of gateway units. Classic. Not quite committing into the natural, but he's going. Not committing into the main, but he's going for the natural. Overcharge is on cooldown. We're still on 3 Immortals. We depower everything on the low ground as well. No, the Immortal goes down. Some miscontrol out of Cyan. GG gets called. Lose the Immortal, lose control of the natural, and Classic takes the 2-0. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Classic punishing the greed of Cyan 2 games in a row, both in game 1 and game 2. What I will say is that Cyan, he did fare better in the second game. He was a little more prepared for the all-in, again, just because he faced off against it in game 1. But unfortunately, he was still picked apart. He was still bleeding out a little bit too much. Winding it back, because of the faster Robo, because of the faster Immortal and the Prism for Classic, he had so much more micro potential to be able to juggle backwards and trade units and preserve units. More importantly, he did preserve a lot of Adepts and all of his Immortals, and that just built up over time and eventually did overwhelm Cyan. GG. Again, a much stronger defense out of Cyan here in game 2, but still not quite enough. And Classic takes the 2-0. Congratulations. Congratulations, Classic does advance on to the semi-finals. My condolences to Cyan, as he is going to be eliminated from the tournament. And we have some more quarterfinal matches to come. It was a fast series, but really we're just warming up. We're getting ready here for what's to come. Up next, we have a Zerg versus Protoss. Dark versus Rebellion. Oh boy. Okay.